All right, so hello and welcome to another trading video on the Monster Candle Trading channel. This is going to be for the trading day, December 10, 2024. Normally, I would have just left the audio in from the live stream, but me and my friend that normally trade in the mornings were were wilding today, so I didn't want to leave that audio in. So instead, I'll just be going over all of the specific entries that I took and explain my mindset in regards to it and the takeaway from the trading day. So of course, the trading strategy will remain the same, which is using the opening range gap, which is the regular trading hours close at 4:14 p.m. for the previous day and the regular trading hour open at 9:30 a.m. for the current trading day. The gap that is left there when you're looking at the electronic trading hour time is the gap that we're going to be using. It is very useful in regards to determining what's going to be a high resistance day, if it's going to be a low resistance day, and it is the main focus that I normally use primarily for the bias. If it's the case that it's ran to pretty early, then I'll look into new week's opening gap, new day's opening gap, and just general relative equal highs or lows liquidity pool that the market could be using through draw to. And yeah, that's pretty much the setup. The other important thing is, of course, the first FEG. That's what I'm going to be using to determine my entries on the specific bias that I decided on. So first things first, let's take a look here. If you pay attention, it's in the 20 minutes macro, which is from 9:50 to 10:10 in the morning, mainly because the earlier parts of the session was just accumulation. So we just waited it out and we decided to wait on this macro where the price would actually run. So let's have the video continue here. If you pay attention, I'm looking to set up a limit order, which was a mistake because the market in this particular case didn't return to it. What I should have done instead is that as soon as the market closed, is about to close or looking like it's going to close below the FEG, I should have used an entry there so that way I can participate. So set the limit order, it didn't run to that here. Instead, it ran into what I believe was the Friday's FEG, which was on the 6th of December, which was just an error on my end because I didn't mark it out correctly, and it baited me in to take an entry that wasn't really there. And I was pretty confident in this entry too, because if you pay attention here, the market eventually went and closed below it there, so I was confident that it would have continued to run. But as you can see here in the future, it eventually went and stopped me out right there. So it's now in the first FEG of the day, which is this blue highlighted area here. So what I'm looking to see is I was actually looking to take a sell here, which is really, really bad on my end because it already failed to go lower and it already used this FEG to fail to go lower. So if it's the case that it failed, I should not be looking for a sell, but only be looking for a buy in cases like this. And of course, rightfully so, the market took me out of it right there. So I'm looking to take the buy entry here. I'm looking for the buy side liquidity, but of course I made the same mistake that I made earlier, which was to set up a limit order. Of course, the market wasn't waiting on anyone to run to the liquidity in question. And that pretty much concluded the 9:30 to 10:10 trading session. But since the midpoint of the gap was still open on the US Tech and the US500 successfully ran to their midpoint of the gap, I was confident that the market would eventually run there. So I was waiting on 10:30 for my next entry setup, which is incorrect. Normally, if you want to use 10:30, it's going to be on news days where the market, or it's just on a day where the market is just running in a single direction. 10:30 time frame is typically what the market used to take out some of the traders that's currently in the current trend. So it's a counter move. Since the market was going higher, I anticipated I was going to go lower for the midpoint, but 10:30 wasn't the time. I should have waited on the 10:50 to 11:10 20 minutes macro, and of course I paid the price there because as soon as the market as soon as the market came back down there, I set my limit order. Let's see here. Yeah, set my limit order there, triggered me in, of course, stopped me out almost immediately. The thing is, at this time, I wasn't frustrated or anything because whenever you're operating the market using a sense of logic and you have the mindset that losses are expected, you just use each of the losses as information. So The other mistake that I made for today's trading is that after taking the loss, I was looking to go long, which is very, very bad. Not only that the mistiming of the setup, but it's that the only reason that I'm in the market is that I believe the market is willing to go lower. So looking for a long here was really bad. But of course, because of the amount of funds in the account, it didn't trigger me in, thankfully. And I was able to realize that I was making a huge mistake. So here's the 10-10 macro. On the US tech specifically, the market went, traded below. Here, I could use a market entry to enter into the trade at this point. But it's also important to know that at this point for the US tech, I don't have enough funds to actually participate in this market. So I'm looking at the US500. And right here, if you pay attention over at the US500, it is the classic ICT 2020 setup. Buy side taken, market structure shift. FVG right here, got my entry in, looking to take out those relative equal lows down here as a long-term setup. And then if you pay attention mainly on the US tech, you'd see that it ran pretty nicely to the midpoint as I anticipated. There we go, beautiful. And then for this trade, the main focus after a while was to simply let's go back here. The main purpose after a while was to simply recoup the loss that I took. So that was my main focus for the endpoint of this trade. It wasn't to like hit a home run or anything like that. So thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. You have to keep in mind that this is a trading journey, so you can expect that I'm going to be making some mistakes, but I'm pretty confident that with my continued hard work and diligence that I'll be able to actually get this pulled off and be profitable. And I just want you guys to see the journey and have a sense of relief knowing that not everyone is hitting the big numbers as yet, but with consistency you can actually make it and make the improvements that you want to make. Again, thank you so much for your time. Take care.